Here at Jim Thomas's at the Bar T Ranch in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and we're going to talk to Jim Thomas about his brand new TV show, American Hoofbeats TV, a show dedicated solely to our wild mustangs, so you get a chance to travel around and meet mustangs and learn all about them. I know you're going to love it.
Are you thinking about a career with horses?
I love this. We love this. I love this. I love this. I love this.
We know. You'll love it too.
Good morning. We're at the beautiful Bar T Ranch in Pittsburgh, North Carolina with Jim Thomas. And Jim Thomas is a host for a brand new TV show that we're starting called American Hoofbeats TV. And Jim has a really long history with mustangs, so we knew that he would be the perfect person to host this show. So Jim, tell us a little bit about your new show.
Rose, we are so excited about American Hoofbeats. And when you came to me a few months ago wanting me to be part of American Hoofbeats, I was so excited I couldn't stand it. It was like I was telling everybody that I knew, whether they were into mustangs or not, it really didn't matter. They were going to hear my story and my little piece of it. The neat thing about being part of American Hoofbeats is my exposure and the time that I've had to work with mustangs. This little horse right here is the very first mustang I ever worked with. Her name is Reba. She came from Alfred Springs, Oregon. And I adopted her back in 2005. And it was before the extreme Mustang makeovers, and really before, I guess, the Mustang popularity kind of hit the U.S. And I think we can probably give a lot of that credit to the makeovers. But, you know, what drew me into it was I was hearing all this talk about Mustangs and how difficult they were and how not understanding and hard to work with and how dangerous and all these other things that people would talk. And, you know, it's just kind of like they put this premonition about the Mustangs. You needed to stay away from it. I kind of feel like I did a pretty good job with horses, so I said, well, let me go try one of these. So we went and adopted Reba. She was adopted through one of the BLM adoptions that they hold. And she was the high-selling horse of the day, and this was back when they did the auction process. And I actually had to pay $380 for this horse. And, you know, it was about $100 higher than any horse that they had. But when we got there, I kind of walked through, looked at the horses, just kind of looked at her, and I had picked 3 horses that I wanted. And as those 3 horses, as that selection process went, it turns out she was going to be the last horse that came up on auction. And I was like, I want her, but should I let this horse go and I let that horse go? So as fate had it, I let the other 2 horses go by, and she came up towards the end of it, and it was me and 3 more folks bidding on her. And, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on the horse, but I had a checkbook. And my wife at the time, she was just kind of like, you know, this is getting kind of expensive. I said, honey, I'll worry about cashing this check or making this check good after we leave here. So at the time, we wound up buying her. Had no idea what a name for or anything whatsoever. We started down the road. I was excited. All the kids were in the car. You know, just one of those happy, jovial times, kind of like Christmas all over again. I think it was Christmas in March, actually.
Right.
But a Reba McEntire song came on, and I'm thinking, Reba, red. And, you know, red done, and it's like, boom, there's her name. And I not even had a chance to work with her. But that's how Reba came about. And being the very first Mustang, I kind of took things slow with her, but I was obsessed with her. So I was spending a lot of time, if nothing more, just standing there looking at her and watching her behavior. But she had the right kind of personality. She didn't have a lot of fears in her, but she had a I'm the queen personality. And I said, well, you know, we can probably work along, kind of like working along with a woman, you know.
Sure.
They're the queen. As long as you let them know they're the queen, life is good.
Absolutely.
And that's how it worked out with Reba. And I think in about 2.5 weeks we were riding this old gal. And we rode a long time before I ever came off of her. And I think the first time I came off, I wasn't paying attention. She got over next to an electric fence and hit that electric fence, and she kind of come undone with me, and but it was my fault. But other than that, she's been a good old safe horse. And I think she's a 2004 model, so that probably puts her, what, about 13 years old, 13 or 14.
And what are some of the cool things you've done with Reba?
Reba has done really well in the trail challenges. You know, I started out working in the beginning, she was nothing but a trail horse. Well, now I couldn't tell you how many colts she's helped start. Couldn't tell you how many cows that she's roped, how many cows she's worked and put on the trailer, how many people she has taught to ride. It was kind of neat. I had a couple 2 or 3 years ago that came to me. They were in their 70s. They had never ridden horses, and they wanted to learn how to ride a horse. And Reba at the time was the most gentle thing that we had here. So Reba actually took 2 folks in their 70s and taught them how to ride. And you know, 70 years old, and you're looking at a horse that's plus 16 hands.
Yeah.
That was kind of challenging to them. But when they saw this horse right here, and you can see as she stands with us, there's just no challenges with humans with her. And she's just really happy and really good about it. So Reba's had a chance to do a little bit of everything. She's up through level 2 in dressage.
Wow.
So she scored really well in those, and you know, I really can't complain a bit with her. She's just been a good all-around horse.
Welcome to 411 New Hope Church Road in Turkey, North Carolina. This amazing equestrian compound is the prior location of renowned Carroll's Cutting Horses and is a turnkey horse facility ready to accommodate multiple families or a large equestrian operation. This ranch is comprised of approximately 485 acres. With facilities so extensive, only a site visit will confirm their magnitude. The grain bins, dog kennels, backup generators, and other assets add to the enormous equestrian campus. So call us for a complete list today. Call Gardner Reynolds or Frank Gombatz, brokers, for more information and a showing. Legacy Farms and Ranches of North Carolina, a premier marketing platform for farms, ranches, and recreational properties.
And a lot of you folks out there watching have probably ridden Reba because she was used at the NC State Fair as one of the 5-minute lesson horses.
She sure was, and that was really exciting. You know, at the time, I think she was one of 2 Mustangs that we had there, and people would come up, and that would be the little bit of added feature that you could talk about with Reba, is that she is a wild Mustang, and that she did come from the wild. And her first, she was just a little under 2 years old when she was captured, so her first 2 years was running wild in Oregon, and she was only in captivity for 2 months. And that was kind of neat, and that kind of makes it just a little easier on getting them trained sometimes, is the less time they're in captivity.
I can understand that. So what other experience have you had with Mustangs since Reba?
Well, since Reba came along, we decided to explore in it just a little bit more, and if folks are familiar with the Extreme Mustang Makeover, the first makeover was in 2007. So at that time it was very competitive to get in it. And we applied for the makeover. They had, I think, about 135 entries. They only accepted 100 riders. And we were one of the first ones to make that. And we wound up with a little horse that I now call Medicine Man. And he belongs to somebody here locally. And he turned out to be a fantastic horse. We did really well at the makeover. And if nothing more, it was an experience to get a chance to go down and train with some of the best trainers in the United States and compete against them or compete with them. I'm not really saying it was a competition against others. It was a competition of everybody getting together and sharing experiences and just seeing how well they could do with their horses.
I know with my experience with the Mustang community that it's a pretty tight-knit community.
It is tight-knit, but it always has open doors.
Absolutely.
That's the neat thing about it, you know, in a lot of disciplines with horses and different things that we do, it's tight-knit with very few closed doors. You got to know somebody that knows somebody to get in. Well, if you have a desire to have a Mustang And as tight as this group is, and really as large as this group is in the United States, all you've got to do is put a word out there that says, hey, I need some help, I need some suggestions, or I just want to share some experiences, and you will be bombarded by the amount of attention that you'll get from that.
That's my experience exactly. Whatever I've asked of them, they've delivered, you know, with smiles on their faces.
That's
So it's
it,
been
that's
a great
it.
experience.
I think everybody that has a Mustang, they are so proud of that horse. And really, these guys right here versus a domestic horse is when you do build that relationship with them, it's deeper than any relationship you'll ever have with any other animal.
And I know that as we explore with American Hoofbeats TV and you travel around, there's really nothing these horses can't do.
There's not, and you know, and we'll see through the segments of the show that these horses are excelling in the jumping world. They're excelling in the dressage world. Really, any competition that is set out there for the equine industry, the Mustang, if you'll look deep enough, he's right up there in the top in the runnings.
I know Tom Hagwood, who's a big name in the Mustang community, does a lot of reining with his Mustangs.
Most definitely, most definitely.
And Cobra, a Mustang that you'll meet in another episode, was FEI Open Dressage Horse of the Year for the second year in a row this year.
And see, that says it right there. That says it. And we're looking at horses that didn't have, you know, 10 years to build up into it.
Right.
You're looking at Mustangs that maybe they were captured at 3 or 4 years old, and they're competing successfully within 2 or 3 years and really throwing in some good scores.
Absolutely.
And that says a lot too about the hardiness of the horse, is because of the way Mother Nature put this horse together, that we don't have to be so delicate and we don't have to have those concerns. Those concerns are good, but we can go ahead and put these guys to work after we've got them physically in shape, and they're able to start producing for us.
Absolutely. Now tell me a little about your experience with Mustang Heritage Foundation, because that is where you go to adopt, well actually you go to BLM, but the Heritage Foundation's been a big part in getting this famous and getting people excited about it.
A lot of folks, if you're involved in the Mustang industry, you know about the Mustang Heritage Foundation. It's a foundation out of Texas. I can't tell you exactly when they started. It was definitely prior to 2007. But my first experience with them in 2007 for the first makeover at Fort Worth was fantastic. And you know, since then, and there's been personnel changes, and there's always new blood coming in there, and new ideas, and new promotions. And you know, a lot of these nonprofits, you look back and you think, you know, where's that profit going to? But if you'll look at the Mustang Heritage Foundation, you'll see exactly where that profit's going. It's going right back into the horse. And you know, you can look at different things and the different expenditures, and you'll see everything is geared back to, let's let the world know about the American Mustang.
Absolutely. And the Bureau of Land Management is who's actually in charge of Wild Mustangs. So tell me about your interaction with them.
The BLM, Bureau of Land Management, is it's a government organization, fall under the Department of Interior, and they have actually been set up, and they manage just millions and millions of acres throughout the United States. But they're also the caretakers for the Mustangs. So, you know, and you know, I will say this, all Mustangs aren't on BLM land.
Right.
So the National Forestry Service has property that has Mustangs on it. The government, White Sands Missile Range is an example of properties that have Mustangs on them. But the BLM uses their program with the Mustangs and through the adoption that they use to put the Mustangs out into the world. But they manage, and it's managed very well. They have a lot of input from the outside in, so that would be individuals like yourself and I that can have input as to how these horses are managed. Now, you know, there's a lot of controversy, put them out there and let them be. Well, if we put them out and let them be, Mother Nature, she's going to take her toll on them. And then we have some folks, well, they get a little concerned about that. Did you know there's horses dying of starvation? That's how Mother Nature controls things. There's horses who've got disease. That's how Mother Nature controls. So the government's kind of having to walk a fine line to keep everybody happy.
Right.
And the number one thing is we want to keep these guys happy. And one of the ways to keep that, make that happen, of course, is through herd management. And that's being able to control, you know, this piece of land can only support this many horses, so that's how our horses become available for adoption.
Hey, my name is Daniel Rayner. Numerous time qualifier to the Southern Finals Rodeo, won team ropings across the country. I've used Mule City feeds since I was a kid. Always great quality feed. And I use complete horse feed. It already has hay in it. If you're tired of chasing hay, then give Paul Dunn a call today at Mule City Feeds. I thank him for all the effort and time he puts into quality feed.
You know, one of the interesting things that I learned through my process with filming and working with different Mustangs is that, you know, you buy the Mustang or you adopt it with the adoption fee from BLM for $125 or whatever the fee is, and you spend the money to pay a trainer to train it as if you would any other horse. And at the end of the day, you have a really great horse, and you really don't have any more money or time in one than you would have had if you'd have bought one of my babies.
And that's a really neat idea and a neat way to make it happen. But there's also something else that I'll put a little plug in there. Through the Mustang Heritage Foundation, they have a program called the TIP program, Trainer Incentive Program. So you can actually get in touch with a TIP trainer and let them be involved in the adoption of your Mustang, and there's $750 more, I think that's still current, that is coming from the government to that TIP trainer to help maybe get those initial start on that Mustang. Maybe just where you can get that horse to where you can handle him, halter him, lead him, feet, vaccinations and all of those things. And some Mustangs, it's certainly not unheard of, that within 30 days for that TIP trainer that they're already riding that horse. So there again, there's the government that's come in and helped you. We ask, why is the government doing that? Well, if we look at it, $750 up front is a whole lot cheaper than having to feed and take care of this horse for years on end.
Absolutely.
So it's a good changeover.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things you want to accomplish with the show?
Well, what I really want to do is open everyone's eyes about the Mustang and to know how versatile it is and how much that you can do with the Mustang. And whether you're just an avid trail rider, or whether you just knock around the house, knock around the arena, the round pen, obstacles, whatever you want to do, and you start looking at the market and somebody says, hey, I know where there's a good Mustang, kind of erase those ideas that you have heard over the years about Mustangs and how dangerous and all of that stereotyping, I guess, that we hear about the Mustang. Erase that. Give that horse a chance. As you can see, this horse right here, yeah, she's got, you know, several years of riding on her, but this is the horse that you saw when she was 3 years old. And I know there's a horse in the background, you can't see him. He's a little rescue Mustang. We've had him right at a month. Very, very briefly had been handled, and he's riding out really well on the trail, arena work, walk, trot, and canter on a loose rein. He's already doing some obstacles. That's 30 days worth of work on a little Mustang. So, you know, just understand that, and, you know, no matter what your desires are with the horse, consider that Mustang.
That's what I think too. You know, I don't want people to view them as poor little Mustangs and they have a terrible life. That's not the way it is at all. They're actually very, very valuable and versatile additions to your herd, no matter what your discipline is.
That's exactly right. And, you know, when we look across, and we'll talk about the hardiness too, we just suffered through some pretty tough weather here in North Carolina. That this gal right here, she stood out in the freezing cold and the wind and the snow, and all she had was hay to eat. And as you can see, I don't think there's an issue with her weight going on right here. We don't have to supplement her with any kind of feed whatsoever, no supplements. She doesn't wear shoes. So, you know, when I can keep a horse up like this and keep her healthy, and I put less than $100 a month in this horse to keep her rocking and rolling, and she's always there for me.
Right. They are very, very hardy animals. I can't remember hardly anybody ever complaining about having vet bills with a Mustang. And they also, I've not heard people talk about them being stupid and running into stuff and getting cut and banged up and beat up. You know, they have very good head on their shoulders as well.
Well, at 14 or 13 or 14 years old, this gal right here has never had a vet visit. Now, she gets vetted once a year to get her inoculations, get her Coggins, but to have to call the vet to come and deal with an injury or a sickness, she's never had a vet.
Yeah,
And,
they're hardy horses without a doubt.
really good. You know, it's like you turn her out, you make sure she's in a pretty good and safe environment, leave her alone till you're ready to use her. It's kind of like parking that motorcycle in the shop till you get ready to need it. Go get on it, enjoy it, put her back out, and wait till the next pretty day.
Absolutely. Well, we're really excited about the new show. We can hardly wait to get it on the air, and I know you guys are going to enjoy watching it too. So tell us again where it's going to air.
Okay, there's several different venues that you can see, and of course you can go to the website and see it, but I think it's on Amazon. It's going to be on Roku TV. Boy, Rose, you just kept on. I'm going to let you give all those out because I just can't keep up with all of them.
I know there's so many venues and it's growing every day, but Farm and Ranch Network is an agricultural-based network out of Claiborne, Texas that Kenny Emi started, and he's a cutter, and it's on every major streaming network in the United States. So that would be Roku, it would be Amazon TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, and I'm sure whatever else is out there will be on there in no time at all. It's also a free program. So if you get any of those networks, you can watch all of the shows that they have on the air absolutely free. So that's a really good plus, too, for our industry.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And the neat thing about all the streaming shows that she just talked about, or all the streaming networks she talked about, is you don't have to be home at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night to sit and watch it. Is that as every edition comes out, every new segment comes out, you can, at your time, at your flexibility, you can sit down and watch it. You miss an issue, go back and watch it. So, you know, that's the neat thing about streaming TV is did I sit to DVR tonight? Well, I'm going to a meeting. I can't believe I missed that segment. Hey, it's there waiting for you.
Absolutely. And if you follow us on Facebook, American Hoofbeats TV is the Facebook page, you'll get a chance to have inside and behind the scenes information and know about every episode when it's ready to come on the air. So we hope that you'll follow us on Facebook as well.
Good deal. So glad again, Rose, to be part of this. American Hoofbeats, that is where it's going to happen. That's where you're going to learn that last little bit of information that you wanted before you reached out to adopt your Mustang. Look forward to seeing you there.
Very good. And if you have a question about a Mustang, feel free to make a comment on the page because somebody from the Mustang community will chime in and help you.
That's just like what we were talking about. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, and thank you for watching.
This is our field of dreams. At the heart of these flowers is a decade of non-GMO crop development, bringing together a community of independent UK farmers who share our belief that we are what we care about. Together, we're cultivating an omega-rich crop that not only supports your horse's health, it also supports the very world that sustains us. With every master batch of ahi flower oil we create, we're providing the richest plant-based, ocean-friendly source of omegas for you and your horse. Ahi flower oil, balanced equine omegas that your horse will love.
Hi, my name is Jessica Fair. I'm the practice manager here at North Star Veterinary Hospital, and today I would like to talk to you about blanketing during the winter. This is Puddles, also known as Working Up a Storm. She is my 30-year-old thoroughbred cross, and I have owned her for nearly 20 years. So today I would like to show you why we do blanketing in the winter. You do not have to blanket your horses in the winter. However, because of her age and the fact that I used to show her, I always blanket her. I generally recommend having 3 different blankets. There is a stable sheet that you can have, which acts as a liner. There's also a turnout sheet and a turnout blanket. Generally, if you get those 3 blankets, you can pretty much maintain through a North Carolina winter and not have any problem. This is a 1200 denier blanket. Basically, when we speak about denier, we talk about the fabric, and you can see the way that it's woven. It is actually made to be a ripstop. So if there's any horses that are out in the pasture that try to help take her winter clothing off, generally it helps to stop rips. It's also the most cost effective. These blankets last for quite some time. Generally, you want to spend a little bit more. A sheet will probably cost you around $100, but the better the denier, the longer they last. This sheet here is 3 years old. I am lucky she's very good with her clothes. So as you can see, she's very used to having her blankets done. There's multiple different fasteners to help make sure that the blanket stays safe for her while she's out. These are her belly straps. She has one that runs between her hind legs here, and then she has 2 buckles that are up in the front. She fits into a 72-inch blanket, and so how you measure that is you measure from the center of the chest up through and down to their hip point. That will tell you exactly how long they are and what size blanket you should get. You want it to fit snugly so that they're not too long and not too big, because it can pose a safety hazard in the pasture. The great thing about the multiple blankets is that you can layer them. So this here is her turnout sheet, and in a moment I will grab her turnout blanket. This blanket is her turnout blanket. It is a medium weight, so it is a 220-gram fill. They range up to 300-gram fills, which basically constitutes the weight of it. So as you can see, it's a little bit thicker here and has a little bit more of a liner on the inside. So that's where it's basically filled with cotton fill. One of the reasons that I love WeatherBeeta, and this is actually my 3rd WeatherBeeta since owning her, is that they are waterproof. It's very important that you do not put a non-waterproof blanket on your horse out in the pasture, especially on days when it's raining. If they get cold and they become saturated, your horse is also not going to be able to keep themselves warm. So please do not put any non-waterproof blankets on your horses while they are outside.
Hey, I'm Jim Thomas with Bartee Horsemanship. I want to welcome you with the opportunity to come out and attend a clinic with us sometime. We do clinics in horsemanship, cow working, obstacle courses, and trail work as well. We give many people the opportunity to come out and ride their horse, or horses that we provide as well, on some of our clinics. That gives them the chance to learn to build a relationship and a communication with the horses that they have. One of the things that we really strive on is training through understanding. To us, training through understanding is understanding how the horse works, how he perceives the information that we give him, and it makes us a better trainer. It takes out the confrontation, and us and the horse get along so much better with a lot more positive results. So next time you're looking for a chance to do a clinic, think Bartee Horsemanship. You can find more information about us at barteehorsemanship.com.